There are two types of champions commonly played in the Baron lane: the bruiser champions like Camille and Fiora, who are good at 1v1 and split pushing, and the tank champions like Malphite or Mundo, who tends to play safe and scale onto mid and late game. If you're playing a tank champion against a bruiser champion, you really can't do much during the laning phase. Let's say you're playing Malphite against Fiora, your job is just to stay back and just let her push. Even if you try to walk up to last hit minions, she'll just lunge at you, so let her overextend, preserve your HP, and coordinate with your jungler to punish her actions. If you're playing a bruiser champion against a tank champion, you have the advantage during the laning phase. Let's say you're playing Fiora against Malphite. Your job is to last hit minions while lunging at Malphite every time he walks up to the minion wave. By doing this, your opponent has no choice but to fall back, causing him to miss some minions. But don't overextend just to harass your opponent. Just focus on last hitting minions and pay attention on the minimap to know where the enemy jungler is, so you won't die unnecessarily and waste your early game advantage. There are three types of wave control you can use in your lane. These are the fast pushing, freezing, and slow pushing. Fast pushing is when you clear the minion wave fast before the next wave arrives. You can use fast pushing when you want to recall, visit other lanes, or to just hit the enemy tower. The disadvantage of fast pushing is you'll be more vulnerable to gank since you have to move far forward and use your abilities to clear the wave fast. To avoid this, you have to ward the nearby river to avoid possible ganks from the enemy jungler. Freezing is when you let your opponent push the wave just outside your tower and holding it there. You can use freezing when you want to farm safely, you want your opponent to overextend, or when you're ahead and you want to take the minion away from your opponent. The disadvantage of freezing is you'll be vulnerable to gank since your opponent will have a large minion wave to support their dive. To avoid this, just ward the nearby bush so you will know when the enemy jungler arrives and clear the wave fast with your abilities. Another disadvantage is your opponent will have time to roam to other lanes since the wave is on your side. To counter this, you can just fast push the wave by the time you see your opponent visit other lanes, so he'll miss a lot of minions and damage his tower. Slow pushing is the same concept of freezing, but instead of holding the wave near your tower, you have to move forward slowly. Slow pushing will stack your minions, resulting a large wave slowly pushing forward to the enemy's tower. You can use slow pushing when you want to dive your opponent, recall, or visit other lanes. During the late game, you have two options on what to do based on your champion. You can stay away on your team and focus on split pushing, or join your team and win team fights. Split pushing is good for champions who have animation cancel ability like Fiora, Jax, and Camille. You can use split pushing when an objective is available, so your opponent will have to send someone to defend their towers. If they do send someone to defend, you have two options. If you're ahead, you can just kill the defender and continue pushing, or if you have the teleport enchant, you can TP to your allies to have a numbers advantage on the team fight. Team fighting is different depending on what champion you're using. If you're using a tank champion, your job is to initiate team fight by engaging to the nearest key enemy and take enemy damage for your team. If you're using a bruiser champion, you have to wait for your tank to initiate and follow his engage, but if you're ahead, you can also initiate team fights yourself. You as a Baron laner need to have a good coordination with your jungler, so watch this jungle guide to understand more about the jungle role. Thank you for watching.